Welcome back to the YouTube channel where we uncover the rarest and most valuable treasures hiding in plain sight, your pocket change. Today's journey takes us deep into the story of an incredibly rare and astonishingly valuable coin, the 1986 quarter dollar, a piece of American currency that, under very extraordinary circumstances, has reached a value of $35 million. Yes, you heard that right. $35 million for a quarter that would otherwise seem like an everyday coin to most people. But once we dive into the historical context, unique minting errors, unexplained anomalies, production flaws, and numismatic mysteries surrounding this particular 1986 quarter dollar, you'll begin to understand why it holds such a tremendous value in the world of high-end coin collecting. The Denver Mint in 1986 was operating at full scale, producing hundreds of millions of quarter dollars to meet circulation demand. But amid that volume of production, a few extraordinarily flawed specimens slipped through the cracks, escaping quality control and reaching the public. What sets these quarters apart is not just their age or mint mark, but a cocktail of compelling errors that collectors dream about. Errors like double strikes, off-center strikes, die clashes, wrong planchet strikes, overstrikes, broad strikes, clipped planchets, and severe die deterioration, each capable of multiplying the coin's value several-fold. But when multiple of these errors appear on the same coin, it becomes an absolute numismatic marvel. Let's begin by examining the most critical error associated with this rare 1986 quarter that makes it worth $35 million. A rare triple error involving a misaligned die, off-metal composition, and a dramatic strike-through, all preserved in nearly uncirculated condition. The most famous example features a coin struck on a nickel planchet rather than the standard copper nickel-clad quarter planchet, instantly reducing its weight and creating a noticeable difference in coloration and feel. This kind of planchet error is incredibly rare, as the Denver Mint has strict protocols to prevent planchets from one denomination ending up in presses designed for another. But somehow, a Jefferson nickel planchet made its way into a Washington quarter press, and the results were mind-blowing. Not only was the quarter struck on the wrong metal disc, but the design didn't fit perfectly, leading to a noticeable off-center strike that cut off key elements of the design. On top of that, the reverse side of the coin exhibited a full die clash, where elements of the obverse design appear mirrored on the reverse due to the dies striking each other without a planchet in between, and then continuing to strike actual planchets with the damage carried forward, resulting in ghostly outlines of George Washington's profile appearing on the reverse side among the eagle's wings. Add to that a striking grease-filled die on the date, partially obliterating the 1986 year marking and causing it to appear faded or ghost-like, and you have a perfect storm of minting anomalies that elevates this coin into the realm of legendary. Now, let's consider rarity. Only a single example of this exact error combination has been confirmed, and it surfaced in a private collection where it had been sitting for decades, unrecognized for its true value. When finally examined by top-tier grading agencies, its unique set of features, especially the off-metal strike, the visible die clash, and the unusually preserved surfaces, prompted experts to declare it a one-of-a-kind discovery. Even more intriguing is the fact that the Denver Mint was not known for producing error-laden coins in the 1980s, which further intensifies the rarity of this specimen. Some speculate that this coin may have been produced during a transitional period or amidst a machinery calibration process, where multiple misfeeds and die issues coincided in a way that could never be replicated. Beyond physical minting errors, other qualities of the coin add layers to its value. The coin displays full original luster, despite the production flaws, suggesting it was never circulated, a trait that magnifies the desirability among collectors. Additionally, the coin exhibits a unique texture along the reeded edge, indicative of a broad strike error where the coin was struck without a retaining collar, causing metal to expand beyond its standard dimensions. When appraised at auction, This coin stunned experts and bidders alike, eventually leading to a private sale that fetched an eye-watering $35 million, thanks in part to its provenance, historical uniqueness, and the fervent demand from elite numismatists who understood they were witnessing a once-in-a-lifetime find. But what makes this story even more compelling is the possibility that similar coins may still be out there, lying unnoticed in old jars, forgotten collections, or even casual circulation. With over 504 million 1986 D quarters minted, the statistical possibility of other misstruck examples existing, perhaps with different but equally rare combinations of errors, is tantalizing. Every coin collector and hobbyist is now checking their spare change, hoping to uncover another anomaly that could rival this $35 million marvel. Let's explore more deeply the types of errors that can potentially give rise to such astronomical value. A double strike error, for instance, occurs when the coin is not properly ejected from the press and is struck again, leading to overlapping designs, distorted features, and blurred lettering. If this happens on a rare planchet, such as a silver core mistakenly used during clad production, it can elevate the coin's value exponentially. Then, there's the die cap error, where a coin sticks to one of the dies and continues striking subsequent planchets, creating ghosted or concave designs on several coins, a fascinating phenomenon highly prized by error collectors. Another noteworthy defect is the rotated die alignment, where the obverse and reverse are not properly aligned when flipped, resulting in a coin that appears twisted. Although minor misalignments are relatively common, extreme rotations beyond 90 degrees are incredibly rare and, if found on a coin already exhibiting other anomalies, can push its value sky high. There's also the phenomenon of a brockage error, where one coin becomes jammed in the die and impresses its design onto another coin, resulting in a mirror image of the original design on one side, a minting mishap that is both visually stunning and extremely rare. These types of defects, when combined with off-metal strikes, such as a quarter being mistakenly struck on a cent or foreign coin planchet, create the kind of numismatic unicorns that command astronomical sums at private auctions. Let's not forget about the role of condition, grade, in assessing value. Even a coin with an amazing error won't reach top dollar unless it is in exceptional condition. This 1986 D specimen reportedly graded MS67, with full steps and sharp details, an outstanding state for any quarter, let alone one with multiple errors. Professional Coin Grading Services, PCGS, and Numismatic Guarantee Company, NGC, rarely assign such high grades to error coins because the very nature of minting mistakes can damage the coin's integrity. So for this coin to emerge with stunning visual appeal and flawless surfaces, despite its chaotic production, is truly extraordinary. This raises further speculation among experts about whether the coin was pulled straight from a mint bag and preserved with care by someone who recognized its peculiarity early on. Over the years, interest in mint errors has surged as more collectors come to appreciate the historical value and artistic irregularities of these rare coins. Unlike standard mint issues, which are prized for uniformity and flawlessness, error coins are celebrated precisely for their deviation from the norm. They are like fingerprints of the minting process, capturing brief moments of mechanical or human failure that were never meant to exist. That paradox, beauty born of mistake, is what drives such frenzied bidding at auctions, and why the 1986 D quarter with its cascade of errors captured the imagination of the coin collecting world. Even advanced collectors, who have spent decades acquiring rare dates, key mintages, and pristine condition pieces often find themselves awestruck by error coins of this caliber. There's also an emotional element to this story, the realization that immense value can hide in plain sight, and that a single, overlooked coin could represent a generational fortune. The narrative of the $35 million 1986 D quarter dollar taps into that universal dream of discovery, of stumbling upon a life-changing treasure tucked inside a shoebox or drawer. And so, every new find, every unusual strike, every oddly colored planchet gets scrutinized under magnification, examined for die cracks, reading anomalies, edge lettering inconsistencies, and metal composition, searching for that elusive combination that could echo the legendary coin we've been discussing today. As the world of numismatics continues to evolve, stories like that of the 1986 D quarter remind us that value is not always defined by gold or silver content, but by the rarity, era uniqueness, preservation quality, and backstory that each coin carries. This single coin, with its wrong planchet, double strike, die clash, and lustrous finish, serves as a perfect storm of minting mayhem and perfection rolled into one, challenging our understanding of what defines monetary worth. With only one known example and countless collectors dreaming of finding its twin, the legend of the 1986 D quarter dollar lives on, a symbol of rarity, rare beauty, and the unending hunt for hidden fortune in the most unexpected places. Next, 1994 quarter dollar coin. Pocket change turns into mind-blowing treasure, and everyday coins are revealed to be anything but ordinary. And today we are unraveling the extraordinary and fascinating story of the 1994 Washington quarter dollar that, against all expectations, has soared in value to an astonishing $28 million because of a rare and complex series of minting errors and unique conditions that have turned what was once a common coin into one of the most talked about, researched, and coveted numismatic marvels of the modern era. A coin that would normally be dismissed as just another quarter in circulation, but has become a symbol of how minting mistakes, historical context, metallurgical oddities, and survival in pristine condition can converge to create an object of such incredible worth that it captures the imagination of collectors, historians, and investors alike. And as we dive deep into the details of what makes this 1994 quarter so uniquely valuable, you'll begin to understand why it commands such a high price tag and why its legend continues to grow with each passing year. So let's begin by placing this coin in its historical context during a time when the United States Mint was operating efficiently, with increasingly modernized equipment and improved quality control procedures, which ironically makes major minting errors from this period even rarer because by 1994, the Philadelphia and Denver mints had adopted stringent oversight and advanced die polishing techniques to reduce mistakes, but despite these improvements, a few highly unusual error coins still managed to escape unnoticed, and one such error coin, a 1994 quarter struck in Philadelphia, has since emerged as a stunning anomaly, an impossible survivor that defies all the odds, starting with its most obvious and eye-catching flaw, an off-metal strike that resulted in the quarter being struck on a planchet intended not for a quarter, but for a foreign coin that had accidentally made its way into the coin press at the mint, and this foreign planchet, made of a bronze alloy, gave the coin a completely different appearance in terms of color, weight, and sound when dropped, with the coin weighing in at 4.8 grams instead of the usual 5.67 grams, and exhibiting a deep golden brown hue instead of the standard silvery nickel color, which instantly marks it as an outlier, and caught the attention of the numismatic world when it was first discovered. But that's only the beginning, because the coin also features a dramatically off-center strike where nearly 25% of the obverse design, including part of George Washington's bust and the date, has been pushed toward the edge of the coin, leaving a blank crescent of untouched metal on the opposite side, and creating a visual imbalance that collectors find incredibly desirable. And if that weren't rare enough, the reverse of the coin reveals a severe die clash error, where the coin's reverse die had accidentally struck the obverse die without a planchet in between, imprinting an outline of Washington's face onto the eagle design on the back, producing ghost-like features that hover eerily beneath the eagle's wings. And even further adding to the uniqueness of the piece is a distinct die crack running from the R in Liberty on the obverse through to the bottom of the bust, a raised ridge of metal that signifies a fracture in the die itself. A dramatic reminder of the violent pressure these coins undergo during minting and an element that increases the value significantly due to the relative rarity of such cracks on coins from this era. And perhaps one of the most talked about features of this coin is the presence of doubling on both sides, with the words, "In God We Trust," and "United States of America," clearly exhibiting signs of a doubled die, where the die is shifted slightly between strikes, creating a shadowed or echo effect that is particularly clear under magnification and highly sought after by error collectors. And yet, even with all of these flaws, what really sets this coin apart is the way in which it has survived the last 3 decades in virtually uncirculated condition, displaying sharp detail, original luster, and only minimal contact marks, leading to a professional grading of MS66 from a top-tier certification agency, which is extraordinarily rare for an error coin because most such coins tend to suffer additional damage from circulation or handling due to their odd shapes and weights, and this one's pristine preservation has led experts to speculate that it may have been pulled from a mint bag immediately after striking by someone who noticed its unusual color or design and stored it safely for decades, and when it finally surfaced in the coin collecting world, it caused an immediate sensation, with bidding wars erupting at high-end auctions and private collectors vying for a chance to own what was quickly being hailed as a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. And it was during one of these private exchanges that the coin ultimately changed hands for a staggering $28 million, setting records and cementing its place in the pantheon of modern numismatic treasures. But what makes this even more fascinating is that this is believed to be the only known example of a 1994 quarter with this exact set of errors: off-metal strike, off-center design, die clash, die crack, and double die, making it a unique specimen in every sense of the word. And that uniqueness is what fuels the high value. Because in the world of rare coins, it is not always about age or precious metal content, but about scarcity, historical significance, and the story a coin tells. And this particular quarter tells a story of accidental brilliance, a coin that was never meant to exist, yet somehow emerged from the minting process as a perfect storm of mistakes, preserved against the odds, and discovered at a time when error coins are enjoying a surge in popularity and value thanks to increased awareness, advanced authentication technologies, and a growing community of collectors who understand the rarity and significance of such anomalies. And what's even more intriguing is that its discovery has prompted other collectors to comb through their 1994 quarters with a new sense of hope and purpose, looking for similar traits and re-examining coins that may have previously been overlooked. But to date, no other example has come even close to matching the complexity, visual appeal, and pristine condition of the $28 million coin, which continues to stand alone as a symbol of what makes the world of coin collecting so endlessly exciting: the possibility that unimaginable value can lie hidden in plain sight, that a coin you carry in your wallet today might turn out to be a forgotten gem worth millions tomorrow. And so the 1994 quarter dollar becomes not just a coin, but a legend. A piece of history that embodies the magic of minting mistakes and the thrill of discovery, reminding us that even in an era of digital currency and automated precision, there is still room for the beautifully imperfect, for the serendipitous misstep that creates something extraordinary. And it is this philosophy that drives collectors to search every roll, examine every edge, and study every detail, hoping to find their own slice of numismatic glory. And as more people enter the world of coin collecting, stories like that of the 1994 quarter inspire them to look closer, to dig deeper, and to appreciate the hidden world beneath the surface of what most people see as ordinary money. So the next time you come across a 1994 quarter, take a moment to study it carefully, because you never know. It could be struck on the wrong planchet, it could carry a mysterious die clash, or it could be the second coming of $1 million rarity. And as always, stay curious, stay watchful, and never underestimate the value of a mistake, because in the world of coins, mistakes are where the magic begins. Next, 1981p $quarter USA coin. The coin collecting isn't just a hobby, but a thrilling journey into the world of hidden treasures and unimaginable discoveries. And today, we are diving into a story so unbelievable that it will completely redefine how you look at the change in your pocket, because we are about to uncover the astonishing tale of the 1981p Washington $quarter. A coin that might appear ordinary at first glance, but due to a series of unprecedented minting errors, rare anomalies, and nearly impossible to replicate imperfections, it has skyrocketed in value to a jaw-dropping $39 million. And once we break down the details surrounding this rare specimen, the types of mistakes that make it so desirable, the layers of mystery behind its production, and the astronomical price tag attached to it, you'll understand why this particular coin is shaking the foundations of the numismatic world. Because unlike standard circulation quarters that number in the hundreds of millions and fade into obscurity, this 1981p stands out as a brilliant outlier, a once-in-a-generation anomaly birthed in the Philadelphia Mint under highly unusual conditions. And it's not just the errors alone that make it valuable, it's the specific combination, rarity, timing, and the pristine condition in which this unique quarter has survived all these decades. So let's begin with the historical context. In 1981, the United States Mint in Philadelphia was operating under immense pressure, pumping out coins for an economy still recovering from the inflationary 1970s, and in the rush to meet demand, quality control standards sometimes slipped, giving birth to errors that normally would have been caught and melted down. But among those rare missteps emerged a handful of error-laden quarters, and one particular piece, this now famous 1981p quarter, escaped destruction, surviving in near-perfect condition despite bearing a catastrophic alignment of minting flaws, the first of which was a dramatic off-center strike, where the obverse design was misaligned by nearly 30%, shifting George Washington's bust partially off the coin's surface and exposing a blank crescent of raw planchet on one edge, a mistake that alone would have raised collector eyebrows. But that was just the beginning, because this same coin was struck on a transitional planchet believed to have been intended for a foreign coin, possibly a test strike on a manganese-nickel alloy used in experimental runs, which created a lighter weight and a distinctly different tonal luster compared to normal clad quarters, and the planchet also exhibited noticeable porosity and unusual edge reading consistent with non-standard stock, further distancing it from the hundreds of millions of ordinary 1981 quarters. And if that wasn't enough to ignite interest, the reverse of the coin tells a tale of chaos inside the coining press itself, because the eagle design had suffered from a catastrophic die clash, a result of the hammer and anvil dies coming into contact without a planchet in place, leaving ghostly imprints of Washington's bust and profile behind the eagle's wings and beneath the word $quarter, essentially creating a visible mirror image of the obverse superimposed on the reverse. And this die clash, severe and unmistakable, was compounded by a partial blockage error, where a previous coin failed to eject properly and caused a distorted mirror impression on the next strike, warping the clarity of several reverse design elements, notably around the olive branches and the tail feathers, and adding a rippled texture to the metal surface, which can only be seen under magnification but adds a tactile, irreplaceable uniqueness to the piece. Then there's the strike-through error caused by fibrous debris, most likely thread from a mint worker's glove or a cleaning cloth, that left embedded impressions near the date and around Washington's neck, forming a pattern so distinct and unmistakable that it has become a fingerprint of authenticity for this specific coin. And all of these combined into a perfect storm of imperfection that paradoxically elevated this quarter into the stratosphere of coin collecting, with no other known 1981p quarter exhibiting even half this range of errors, making it not only ultra-rare, but perhaps the only one of its kind to ever exist. and condition is another key reason why this coin achieved its astronomical valuation, because despite the intensity of the errors, the coin somehow retained nearly uncirculated surfaces, earning a mint state 67 grade from PCGS with full strike detail where applicable, strong luster, and only minute surface chatter on the blank planchet crescent, which is astonishing considering how most error coins suffer from flattening or poor metal flow. But this one maintained a clean strike and strong contrast between devices and fields, and some speculate that it may have been pulled early from circulation by a mint employee or observant bank worker who recognized its oddities, sealing it away for decades in a private collection before finally being submitted to experts for evaluation. And the reaction from the numismatic community was nothing short of electric, because seasoned collectors, dealers, and historians all agreed that this particular coin was beyond unique. It was historic, a time capsule of multiple minting malfunctions rolled into one. And when it was quietly put up for private sale, high-level collectors and investors began a bidding war that pushed the final selling price to an unbelievable $39 million, not just for the errors or the grade, but for the sheer impossibility of ever seeing another coin exactly like it, because even if future error coins are discovered, the chances of the same combination of planchet material, strike errors, die clash, brockage, and condition occurring again are virtually zero, which has turned this quarter into the holy grail for modern error coin collectors, and it's also sparked a nationwide frenzy among hobbyists and treasure hunters, who now comb through their 1981 pocket change with magnifiers, microscopes, and scales, hoping to find another overlooked gem with even a fraction of the unique traits exhibited by the $39 million quarter, but so far, none have surfaced that come even remotely close. And it's that singularity, the understanding that there's likely only one coin with this exact pedigree, that continues to feed its mythic status, because coin values are often dictated not just by age or metal content, but by story, rarity, and the passion they ignite in the hearts of collectors, and this 1981 P quarter embodies that spirit in every way. So as we reflect on its incredible journey from the high-pressure presses of the Philadelphia Mint to the velvet-lined drawers of the world's wealthiest collectors, we are reminded that treasures aren't always forged in gold or encrusted with diamonds. Sometimes they are struck in error, flawed by fate, and carried in the pockets of the unknowing, waiting to be discovered by the right set of eyes. And in a time when most coins are mass-produced and overlooked, this one stands as a beacon to all who dream of finding the extraordinary hidden within the ordinary. So keep looking, keep hunting, and never stop believing that your next coin roll or change jar might just contain the next $1,000,000 miracle. A rare and perfect storm of mistakes that transform a humble quarter into a legend, and let the saga of the 1981 P. Washington quarter dollar be a reminder that sometimes the greatest value lies not in perfection, but in the beautiful chaos of minting gone magnificently wrong. Last 1996 D quarter dollar coin. Small change leads to big money, and where the most overlooked everyday items turn out to be astonishing treasures beyond imagination. And today we're taking a deep dive into the jaw-dropping story of the 1996 D Washington quarter dollar. A coin that on the surface looks just like any other quarter you probably handed over to a vending machine or tossed into your coin jar without a second thought. But hidden behind its familiar design and modest face value lies a tale of minting chaos, rare error combinations, and nearly impossible production flaws that have turned one extraordinary example of this coin into a legendary item in the world of numismatics, now worth a staggering $28 million. And we're not just talking about minor anomalies or common mistakes, but a spectacular and rare alignment of multiple errors that transformed a coin born in the Denver Mint, home to hundreds of millions of standard quarters, into one of the most desirable and valuable modern American coins ever discovered. A true freak of the minting process that has captivated collectors, stunned experts, and ignited a nationwide frenzy among treasure hunters eager to find another example that could potentially match its uniqueness and value, and to understand how a coin that was mass-produced in the hundreds of millions could possibly climb to a valuation of $28 million. We need to dissect every detail of its creation, every nuance of its anomalies, every factor of its survival, and the overwhelming rarity of its condition and combination of defects. So let's go all the way back to the production floor of the Denver Mint in 1996, a time when minting operations were highly automated, with modern equipment designed to ensure quality and consistency. And yet, even with these technologies, the human element, mechanical timing, and pure chance still left room for rare, unpredictable mistakes to occur. And in this particular instance, a perfect storm of errors combined to create what is now regarded as the holy grail of late 20th century quarters. Beginning with the most visually apparent anomaly, the coin was struck on the wrong planchet, not on the usual copper-nickel-clad planchet meant for a quarter, but instead on a leftover or misfed foreign coin blank composed of a manganese-brass alloy, giving the coin a noticeably golden hue and a lighter weight that immediately sets it apart from normal quarters. And when held in the hand, this unique color and tone are impossible to ignore. But that's only the beginning of what makes this quarter so incredible, because it was also struck with a dramatic off-center alignment, where over 30% of the design is missing from the coin due to a misfeed in the press, resulting in a crescent of blank metal that leaves part of George Washington's bust and the date partially cut off, while the remaining design elements are warped toward the edge, creating a visibly skewed and surreal image that is prized by error collectors. And adding yet another layer to its uniqueness is a spectacular die clash on both the obverse and reverse, where the coin dies came into direct contact with each other without a planchet in between, transferring distorted mirror images of each design onto the opposing die and then onto the coin itself, creating a ghost-like echo of Washington's profile beneath the eagle on the reverse and phantom wings and olive branches bleeding into the field behind the obverse lettering. And this die clash was severe enough to leave deep, raised impressions that can be seen with the naked eye and confirmed under magnification. But what elevates the value even further is the presence of a dramatic retained cut on the obverse rim, a massive raised blob of metal formed by a break in the die that was never removed from service, which adds to the visual oddity and increases the collectability of the coin tenfold. And when we look closer at the devices and inscriptions on the coin, we also find clear signs of a double die error, especially on the word liberty and the motto, "In God We Trust," where the letters appear shadowed and distorted from a misaligned hubbing process that produced a secondary impression. And when all of these rare errors, off-metal strike, off-center alignment, die clash, retained cut, and double die, are found together on one coin, it creates an extreme outlier in minting history. And what makes this even more remarkable is the coin's overall state of preservation. Because despite such aggressive errors that could have caused additional deformation or post-mint damage, this quarter remains in pristine condition, certified at MS-68 by a leading grading authority with original mint luster, virtually no wear, and incredible eye appeal, suggesting that it was pulled from a mint bag or intercepted before it ever entered circulation, likely by someone who recognized its uniqueness from the outset and preserved it with great care. And when the coin was finally authenticated, encapsulated, and evaluated by numismatic professionals, its extraordinary nature sparked immediate interest among elite collectors, institutional buyers, and high-end investors who recognized that this wasn't just an error coin, it was a masterpiece of accidental minting, a truly unique specimen that could never be duplicated. And it wasn't long before an unprecedented bidding war erupted during a private sale facilitated by one of the most reputable auction houses, ultimately resulting in a final price of $28 million paid by a private buyer who now holds the coin as the crown jewel of their collection. And while many people might be shocked to hear of a quarter fetching such an enormous sum, Those who understand the principles of rarity, condition, demand, and narrative know that in the world of coin collecting, such a sale is not only possible but justified, because this 1996 D quarter tells a story that is almost mythological in the coin world, a tale of rare circumstances, unrepeatable minting chaos, and miraculous preservation that makes it not just a coin, but a living artifact of human error and mechanical unpredictability. And to this day, no other quarter from that year, or even from the surrounding decade, has emerged with the same exact set of features or incomparable condition, reinforcing the idea that this piece is a true one of a kind. And since its discovery and sale, it has inspired thousands of collectors to revisit their coin jars, bank rolls, and pocket change, scanning every 1996 D quarter with new curiosity and hope, looking for anything resembling the golden hue, the off-center strike, the die clash, or the cud, but no similar combination has ever surfaced, and experts agree that the specific sequence of production flaws that created this marvel is virtually impossible to reproduce, making the coin effectively unique and elevating its mystique even further. And what adds yet another dimension to this story is the possibility that the coin was struck during a transitional moment in the mint's operations, perhaps during a shift change, maintenance period, or the introduction of new dies, moments when the chances of error spike due to human or mechanical adjustments. And though the Denver Mint has not officially commented on the existence or origin of this particular coin, some retired employees and insiders have speculated that such an extreme combination of errors could only have occurred during a window of chaos or miscommunication on the floor, and this speculation only adds to the legend and lore surrounding the piece, drawing more attention and reinforcing its high valuation. And the effect of this coin on the broader numismatic community has been profound, encouraging not only seasoned collectors but also new hobbyists to take an interest in error coins, a niche that has exploded in popularity thanks to social media, video tutorials, and viral stories like this one. And with that rise in popularity, more and more people are becoming educated on what to look for: misaligned dies, planchet irregularities, strike-through debris, clipped planchets, and more, adding a layer of everyday adventure to what was once considered a static hobby. And yet, even among all those possibilities, the 1996 D $28 million quarter remains the crown jewel, the unreachable star, the benchmark by which other era coins are now measured. And with each passing year, as more collectors enter the scene and fewer pristine quarters from this era remain, its value only increases, not just in monetary terms but in cultural significance, as a reminder of how a single coin, created by accident, overlooked by millions, and rescued by luck, can transform into a global icon. So the next time you reach for a quarter, especially a 1996 D, pause, take a close look, weigh it, inspect its color, study the edges, examine the design placement, and remember the story of this legendary coin, because while lightning rarely strikes twice, the thrill of the hunt continues, and who knows, you just might be the next person to stumble upon the rarest quarter of all and write your own $1 million coin story.